Nope.
All right. I think we're live. This is what the internet looks like. So we will wait. Uno momento. Make sure everything works. And welcome to the show. What a way to start. What a way to start. Inspiration behind it really is Joe Rogan's intro, where he just starts talking to people. I think that's probably the best way to go.
I like that.
Otherwise, it's like, welcome to the podcast. It's amazing. This is me. Nah, it's just, we just
keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. It's really easy. I haven't got to music tracks yet. I mean, it's baby steps. I've got some logos going. I've got maybe, I don't know, I can move some cameras around. That's about it. It's not quite OBS levels, but no, it's our little place to hang out. It feels good, but it's like I was talking to Carpet before, and it's like one of my mates has always said, like, if you are tech savvy, you get a Android phone, and if you're a baby and can't figure anything out, you get an iPhone. And I've always had an iPhone, so it's like this is kind of like the iPhone kind of way of going about things. So it's nice and easy. It's nice and easy, but that's cool. But yeah, look, the main idea behind the channel and everything really is just to sort of bring people in and talk about the hobby. I'm the type that's sort of, I could easily say I've collected something of some sort and hoarded things and whatever for probably near 30 odd, maybe more years. But coming back into the hobby around that sort of boom time, I think, of sort of lockdown and all the sort of carry on that we've had in Victoria. I think that's, I think a lot of people are in my boat, sort of 43 years old, love some collectibles. It's always good to start a party intro that way. People are into it. But yeah, the idea is to just get different people together, talk about the hobby, talk about what we like in the hobby, any of the challenges, what we like to collect and all that sort of thing. So the mighty Rainblaker and the mighty Carpet Punter have joined me, which is fantastic. Hello. There's a pretty good kickoff session, I think. So it's good. I mean, it's winter in Melbourne. Carpet, you're in New South Wales, but
still freezing here, mate. I tell you.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Winter.
Yeah, 9 degrees or something overnight. Man.
Yeah, yuck. Yeah, no good.
Yeah.
No good. Well, it's
cold for West Sydney. Let me tell you.
Yeah, right. Which Blake, you're ex-Sydney, aren't you, and now Melbourne?
Yeah, I'm ex-West Sydney. So that was one of the most jarring things was moving to Melbourne, where it's like, wow, this is actually, this is different sort of cold. Like,
it is, isn't it? That wind, man.
Yeah, and that's what I try to explain to people. I'm like, and when you go up to like Cairns and stuff, that's a different sort of cold as well. Like it's a moist cold.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
It's a good hashtag, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We've done a lot of trips to like Albury-Wodonga, which obviously sits right in the middle of the two, and it's a bit of a halfway point when you're traveling up there. And I reckon that could be the coldest place I've ever been to in my life. Like it's around that June area in the winter, like you can't move. Yeah. You can't even walk anywhere. It's horrendous. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I've been to a few trips up there for some family events, and and just like I'm allergic to everything, and up there is different allergens to what's down here, and so I like come home and I'm just nose is cooked, I'm freezing, I've had a shit weekend, and it's just like, yeah.
What was the point of even going?
Yeah, that's it. Could have done that in here.
I remember feeling like coming back when I came back from America once, and I had to go via Auckland, and I got to Auckland, and I swear in the space of an hour and a half, I acquired a full blown like cold and flu, and then I had a stopover for two or 3 hours. Like my nose was bright red, and it was running, and all sorts of issues. And then by the time I'd done the flight back to Melbourne, I don't know, maybe an hour or two later, I actually just felt fine. I'm like, I don't understand how that's possible, but yeah, it was like a fast forward cold. I don't get it. Travel's weird.
Just a
pre-COVID
sickness of the air. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, if I was sitting in any sort of public space now with that kind of red beak, sniffling and everything, people would just like club me over the head and put me in another room. So, never mind. But yeah, so I guess guess to kick off in a way, like just to talk about the hobby and everything, really. I mean, like I'll start with you, Carpet. Like just to give a bit of background on like what's your main, like what do you collect? You know, what are the things that you're most interested in, and sort of I guess what got you into the hobby would be a great thing for me to know. I'm interested.
Well, we'll start with basics. I'm late 30s, so I collected basketball cards in the mid 90s. Predominantly Shaq, Jordan, all the usual. Couple Kobe's, but I was sort of, when Kobe was a rookie, was like, I think I was in year 10 at the time, and or maybe year 9, and so I sort of started, getting out of the hobby because got my license, started, girls, all that sort of, like the usual thing that drives girls out of that drives boys out of the hobby. So I sort of forgot about it for a while, and then I was probably mid 2000s. I was actually I was working in Sydney somewhere. I happened to walk into this shop, and they were selling, I think it was like Stadium Club from the early 2000s or something, right? Like, and like I picked up a few packs or something, and like, I don't know, I never really, and then every couple of years since, I bought a few packs every now and then, just stashed them away, didn't really do much with them. It turned out last year, once Kobe passed away, unfortunately, that really drew me back in. That's when I really went digging around for, okay, what sort of Kobe's have I got here, right? So I started having a look, and then that's what I started learning about. Hang on, I think, what's all this grading business? What's going on here? What's this cherry down here? What the hell are breaks? And Blake will remember, he probably got an email from me. Oh, what? So I paid $30 or something, and I got nothing. What are you talking about? How's this work? Oh, right. Okay, no, I get it now. I understand now. Sorry, man. Yeah, I get it now. So, like, so like the hobby had changed quite a lot, had evolved, like quite a lot. Not only a hobby anymore, it can be a serious business too, So, it evolved quite a lot. So I had to get my head around that, and fortunately, I've found the love of it again, and that's what's really kept me here, is the love of it. And I love my 90s cards, cards that just are very nostalgic to me, but also love modern stuff, ultra modern stuff. But I'm really drawn to short print stuff, anything that's really short print of a good player or low pop, anything that's got some sort of air of exclusivity, where not that there's 20,000 copies in the world of that one product.
Thing, what you mentioned there about exclusivity, I think that's massive, because when you start looking at like the NFT space and everything too, like all of a sudden it's like I've got the same highlight, but your number is like way lower than mine. So your number's cooler than mine. But why?
Yeah, exactly. So anything serial numbered, of players that I like, anything, good grade. I love to submit cards and get there. And I've only just started doing that last year. Like I've probably got 6 orders at PSA at the moment that are slowly getting processed. I've had a few back, and I've got a few orders for BGS. To be honest, I prefer BGS slabs over PSA, but it's just that PSA, the market, obviously dictates price. And when you get like some orders back and all you need is 2 PSA 10s, and bang, you just paid for your whole sub. You still got another 30 cards to go through. Like you're laughing, you know what I mean?
But I'm not quite at that level yet.
But some of the real higher end stuff, I would always go to BGS personally, because it's just, for me, it's got that real nostalgic pedigree in the hobby. Like I've got a pile of probably 40 Beckett's from back in the day, and like it's just to me it's the ants pants when it comes to grading, and to try and grab a 10 is the way to go. And that's really what ultimately, like, I've got an end goal with all cards. Like I'll try to get a good card, look at it, okay, is it a good grade? Okay, let's submit it. Is it good enough for a BGS? Yeah, let's go for that. And the best way to submit BGS in Australia is, well, I believe, is through Cherry. But PSA I do myself personally, just through them. I've just got a platinum membership. If the card looks, pretty good, I'll go PSA. But if it looks top notch, I always go BGS. And then you just wait for it back. And some cards, like I've already got in my mind, if that comes back at 10, that's going straight on eBay. If it's not good enough to grade, it's going on eBay, because I don't really collect cards that aren't graded. Because to me, grading a card is like the end goal of the hobby in the end. Like that. Well, that's my end goal. in the end is to have a good graded card collection. Yeah. What that specifically is yet, I don't actually know what it's fully made up of. I'm just that's building along the way. Yeah. But ultimately, that's what I'm looking for is good grades on cards. So that's what I really like. And low pops is key to that. Yeah.
Well, there's a few areas that I don't really. Sorry, I don't really look, or I haven't really looked at that yet. And I know you and I, Carpet, have talked a lot about like the F1 cards and chasing down old mate Lacey. And talking about the fact of getting after the I'll be getting after the grading eventually, but I think it's fun in a sense, like how different people collect different stuff, and even outside of cards. Like I noticed in the background, like I could see like you can't mistake that Stormtrooper head. Like it's really like it stood out straight away. I was like, oh, look out, he's moved, and then Stormtrooper time. But like what about yourself? Like you deal with cards every day and have for a long time, not even just Cherry, from what I understand. And what's your go-to collect?
So NBA is actually, funnily enough, quite recent for me, like in terms of like 4 years sort of thing, like 5 years. And so I was collecting everything, like Pokemon cards, action figures, Lego, cool rocks I found, shells at the beach, shirts from gear. Like I did not stop collecting anything. It was, I don't know if it's like something in me, but I just don't stop collecting things, And so from there, I love all sorts of sports, and so went into Cherry to buy Evolution's Pokemon and got sucked into basketball cards. I'm like, oh, I like basketball. I like cards. Yeah, I'll get basketball cards. And then obviously UFC, soccer. But these days, I tend to kind of collect just things I find cool and unique. And so similar to what Carpet does, like if there's a cool low pop of something, or, I have I don't know.
I like some of the cards you have.
Yeah,
like I have you've got. Is it who's the lady you've got? You got a card of an auto
Betty
of
White.
Betty White. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So that's what I'm into at the moment. And so like I have a card of Bruno Fernando from the Hawks, where it's a personalized one, and it looks like it says #come on it. And I was like, well, I need to own this. So I messaged the guy, and I'm like, listen, I just hit this card for you. Most recent sold without #come on it was $5. This one has #come. I'll give you $20 for it. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, done deal.
If I got that email, I would have been like, yeah, that seems completely reasonable. $20 store credit, I'm in.
I would have been like, never message me again. Like, just send me the dead card.
Yeah, just send me my card, bro. Yeah, thanks. That's gold, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm into at the moment. Anything that kind of like makes you laugh, like unique cards. I love like even just getting silly one-on-ones and stuff. Like, inscriptions. I really like inscriptions as well. So just anything like that, like real unique stuff. Because as you said, I see cards every day, and it takes something really unique for me to be like, oh, yeah, I want that. Like,
Yeah, well, you said on like getting into the NBA, like in that sort of, it's not really a short space of time, but it is to others, I suppose. But with your profession, like you would get to know the names, the teams, the players. You'd start to notice them on box scores and TV so much quicker than the regular Joe, because everyone else is, well, maybe taking a cheeky look while they're working from home, let's be honest. But if you're at the office all day and doing a different type of job, then you're kind of just catching up with it at the end of the day, whereas you're seeing it all the time. It'd take you, like, I don't know, less than a week to get all the names, surely.
Well, yeah. And so, like, we have a team underneath us at the moment to help with sorting and stuff. And one of the guys is like, I've never watched a game of NFL, but I can tell you where the 60-second pick went, because he's been sorting the legacy and scorecards. He's like, ask me someone. I'm like, I don't know their names. He's like, ask me someone. I'm like, oh, buddy, X. And he's like, yep, pick 43, went to the Lions. Next.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
I was like that as a kid, though. Like, I used to read all the basketball cards. So it'd be like, I could tell you, it's probably gone now, but back in the day, I'd be able to tell you the height, the weight, the college, how many years have they been pro.
Well, if you look at modern cards, they don't have a lot of stats on them anymore. That's one thing you notice. Like, you look at 90s, they got like 10 years worth of stats on players' cards.
Some of the old football cards I've got, like I've got a pretty big, like old school collection of Philadelphia Eagles cards, and some of those cards, like I'm talking like the 50s, 60s, 70s, like the stories they have on the back are hilarious. It's like, oh, you know, Bob is also an accountant and his daughter's name is Jenny. It's like, oh, really? That's really fucking fantastic, Tops. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tops.
Random facts.
Yeah, it's so it's bizarre, but like I guess that's one thing that I noticed a lot too from what you just said, CP, about how like there's not as much. Some would call it anecdotal or wasted space of information about players. But I reckon as a kid, I used to learn a lot. But I guess what I've learned anyway in the last 12 months is that you can't really hang on to, you can yourself, but like the people that get upset about, oh, you know, there's no $2 packs anymore. Like I don't remember there being $2 packs.
Well, there's $3 hoops packs.
Well, yeah, so there you go.
I mean, there's plenty of retail out there if people want to get it. They just got to look for it, you know. You just got to do a Google search, NBA hoops, and then JB Hi-Fi, or you know, one of the other game stores, or Cherry. You know, who I don't know if you have stock of the gravity feed, but you know, like there are places where people can buy cheap basketball cards. You know, like in Australia, I think we're pretty lucky, and it sounds like in America they're starting to curb that a bit with more online sales on that. They're starting to do a lot of the like Target, I think, is just doing online exclusive stuff now, and yeah, so like I think that is starting to come around a bit, you know, like, and they're probably, like, I hate to say it, they're probably printing a little bit more as well, you know, so there's a little bit more well, I'm not sure, like there's certain brands that they're probably printing a little bit more of, you know, so it's a bit more accessible, which is good, you know, it's good for the hobby. Like, not every single card, not every single pack of cards is going to make somebody, you know, like going to 4 or 5x their money, you know, and like if you're buying a $3 pack of cards, you're not expecting that, you know what I mean? But like when people are paying, you know, $100 a pack, then they're probably expecting a little bit more, you know. So yeah, but that's where like kids, you know, if they're young kids, or you know, even not kids, even if you're on a low budget or whatever, and you still got hoops to go for, and even that you can pull like a LaMelo Green or something and sell it for $100 or something, get a bit of money if that's what you're trying to do. But yeah.
That's where the test comes in. People who always like, oh, you know, I used to love opening packs with my kids and stuff, and it's like, well, you still have an opportunity to do that, but instead of select, it's hoops. But at the same time, like, you know, like
that's when you find out they're in it for the money only. Yeah, you know, because they're actually really worried about, oh, well, what's the value they're going to get out of that pack? Yeah. You know, and how much are they going to be? Because like you see it straight away, like people pull a card and straight away, oh, how much is this worth? Price check on Disco or wherever, you know, price check, and it's like, well, for starters, it's not even hard to just work out a price of a card. Just even if it's a 1 of 1 of some obscure player, like it's actually pretty easy to work out a price or what you would list it for. Well, I find anyway. And secondly, like you're obviously only in it for the money if that's your first question. Like, yeah,
well, expectation I think is everything. Like, I mean, even if you go in a break, I think one of the most fun parts of sitting in the live stream, Blake, is when you see people that are jumping in and it's like, oh, you know, this is my first whatever break. Like, this is my first UFC break or something, or my first basketball break or whatever. And like you see, you know, 99% I would say of people in the chat all sort of rally around that person and go, oh man, you know, good luck, man. I hope you get something cool. And
beginner's luck.
Yeah, like you see it on a lot of different sort of levels in terms of like, you know, one spot hero or you know, first break. I remember I told this before just on the Discord chat, but like the first 3 breaks I bought into, they were all NBA, and I got the Orlando Magic all 3, and I was like, wow, this stuff's really hard. What's the chances of getting them the same time? And I think I got like maybe a Markelle Fultz card. I was like, oh man, I might write an email.
No, not really. It's so funny. People say that, and quite often they're lying. Like quite often, like, oh, I got Pacers 6 times in a row. And you're like, no, you didn't. And so usually I'll go back and check. And I went back and checked Hendo's first 3 orders. I'm like, oh no, he actually had Magic all 3 times.
You did.
Wow. And like,
I think I might have got Magic as well in my second break, but Blake pulled me a Nick Anderson auto. So that's what I was like pumped, because my first break is what I was saying. I sent you an email saying, what's going on here? What, I got no cards. I think I had Pacers. I think that's who it was from memory. And then the next break I got Magic, and I was pumped thinking, oh, sweet, I might be able to pull a Shaq card, not realising that all the cards are like 2018, 19 or whatever, and like all the Shaq cards are going to be Lakers mainly, you know, if there is any Shaq cards. And but I pulled a Nick Anderson, and I was like, oh, okay, this is fucking awesome. I'm fucking in here. This is sweet as.
Just break stuff's easy.
I just pulled an auto off like $15 or whatever it was. Like, this is awesome. Yeah. So that had me hooked then.
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, look, it's a risk either way. I mean, I think, like I said before, expectations, everything. It could be super fun, and I don't know. Sometimes you get punched in the throat. Like it's just what it is. What it is. Yeah, right. I mean, not everyone's yanking the old LaMelo Ball 1-on-1 on every break. He doesn't play for 30 seconds.
The more you do it, the more you get desensitized. It's like gambling. Oh, that horse lost. Oh, my team like whatever. You just move on to the next thing. You know, like you don't buy in thinking, oh, I'm going to get X amount of dollars with it. If you buy in for the fun of the break and I hit something. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
Thrill of the chase. I mean, we got Peter B and we got Cody in the comments as well.
How you going, boys?
I'm still trying to figure out how to make these comments come up on the screen, so don't think
Cody's right there. Makes a lot of sense. Can't lose if you keep buying in.
That's the law of averages.
That's it.
Or the definition of insanity. I don't know. You could go either way. They both work, though. They both work. But how are you finding like things out there, Blake? In terms of like when I first jumped aboard the Cherry train, it was like I don't know, like mid last year. It was obviously banging, like it was super pumped. I feel like I don't know, a few of the breaks have sort of taken a little bit longer to fill, I guess, in terms of like the baseball and ice hockey and that. But it was probably more stock related, I think you were saying. So it still feels pretty busy out there, though.
It's still pretty busy, like, and it's getting to a point where you kind of have to limit yourself or like choose better things to break. And so like, you know, I don't know what it correlates with, but hockey will have an immense amount of interest for a month. No one will touch it. Baseball, you know, is on the rise, and then it'll die off for a little bit. And it's like, I don't know what this correlates with. Like, I don't know if it's when other sports are quiet. I don't know if it's when, you know, ESPN does a feature on ice hockey's top 10 fights this year. People are like, oh yeah, I love ice hockey. I'm going to watch it. Yeah. And so, it's kind of like, you know, like, it's just, I don't know what it is. Like, and there's boom periods within a boom period, and there's dips within the dip sort of thing. And so it's like, I don't know what causes it. Like, I don't change anything about my strategy, but sometimes people will be like, yeah, me and 20 mates want to get involved in an ice hockey break. It's like, okay, I'll get one up.
Yeah, I think the momentum sometimes picks up in the chat as well. Like, I mean, look, sometimes, admittedly, as a consumer, sometimes when you see like, guys, fill this break, like as in someone in the chat is in the break and they want to watch their break happen. So they're like, guys, there's 7 more spots, just fill it. I'm like, well, you bloody fill it. Yeah. if you have much of a hurry, just buy it. But like Cody says, like Major League Baseball is flying at the moment, and I think I've definitely seen an uptick. And some of the cards, though, the products are beautiful. Yeah. And so even I'm not a massive baseball guy, but like some of that stuff, it's like, I'd like to hit that.
Have you guys played that game, that the show or whatever it is that the boys talk about on Discord? Like, I reckon that game's going off at the moment. Heaps of people are talking about that game. Like when you're watching baseball and that, they're always talking about it, and that draws people in too. When they can play, they get to know all the players and everything, you know. So
Tops pops up a lot in that in the game as well. Like, you know, you do
that's true,
and so it's like, okay, there's cards, sick, I'm gonna look into them. But I think it's a combination of like us being able to get like good products like Inception and, you know, tier 1 cheap, and the fact we bought a whole bunch of baseball products from previous years cheap as well, and we're just able to give that away at dirt cheap prices. And like, here you go, who wants a box of Bowman Draft? Here you go. Hectic.
Man, some of those breaks where you were giving away boxes was sensational.
Well, and that was, and so the kind of the idea behind those is we want people who don't usually collect baseball to jump in and be like, oh no, wait, I love baseball. Oh yeah, sweet, I got a box of tier 1 that I'm going to get to open now.
It's a lot different to like basketball collecting, because the whole rookie system and prospects and all that is a whole beast on its own. But then like you get cards, like you even have a break, right? And then like, and it's so hard for you guys to work out variations and like photo variations and that. And then like you get heritage with 6 different sorts of variations. So you get a stack of cards from a break, and you're like, hang on a second, I've got 2 SSPs in here. What the hell? Like I didn't even realize I got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
so like, because it's like baseball's so deep. Like it's very deep in the collecting. Like you can delve really deep in it. Yeah.
Another big thing is like, for example, Christian Pache was like a rookie 1 year, a prospect in another, and then in Panini he'll be a rookie another year and prospect. You know, and so it's like it is very confusing, and especially as someone who mildly understands the system and then only usually deals with Panini cards. It's like, oh sweet, Christian Pache, he was a rookie last year. And it's like, no, he was a prospect last year and like it changes so much, and he's like, we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't taken any notice at all of the system whatsoever. I'm just like, ooh, that card's pretty. Ooh, that card's pretty. So
it's hard, man, because you'll get like, you know, Jason Dominguez will get rookie cards probably in like, you know, 2 years or something, but he's already been around for 4 years. Then, you know, because he was getting first Bowmans last year. You know what I mean? But because he hasn't actually had a call up to the majors, like until they get a call up to the majors, like they don't get a rookie card. So until he's actually like, yep, mate, you're up into the roster, like you're starting out, you know, in the outfield or whatever and hitting the night. Like that's it. They don't get a rookie card, and then so they normally will get like a Tops Now rookie card to start with, and then like if there's an update series, that's when they'll throw. So say one of the rookies gets called up during the season, that's when they get chucked into the update series and that. But it's very bloody confusing. You got to be across so many players. Yeah, that's right. Series 2 as well.
Update series, and then like, you know, heritage high number, and you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. Like,
it does get confusing. Yeah.
How do you keep up with it though, Blake? If you're breaking it, like, cause like I always marvel at the fact that when you're breaking a pack, you'll be like, oh no, that's right. This one has 1 base on the bottom, so we move that and bring that to the top. Like, how do you remember it for the different products? Because it seems like a shit show.
Bit of muscle memory, and then there'll be times where I'm just like, all right, okay, so remember with Tops Heritage, the short print's not back to front, so you have to check the back of every card, but there's little notes on the top, and so it's like, you know, and usually someone in the chat is happy to let me know, and it's like,
I'm sure.
Oh, thank God. And so like a lot of time people are like, oh, sorry to correct you. I'm like, no, please do. Like, so you do it nicely to me now, or I stuff something up. Like, no,
I remember you did it once with the baseball. They had one where all it had was like this tiny little difference on the back. I can't remember what it was. Might have been a number or something. And I remember you had this big stack, and so you're like, oh shit. So you went back through, and you were like, that's right. And you probably never forget again now. But it was
a bit of number. It's that 3-digit number Tops do.
Yeah, and so like a lot of time you won't even get one in a box, and it's like. And then every now and again, they'll be back to front in something, and you're like, yes, they're all back to front. And sometimes I'll be like, they're not back to front in Series 2, Update 1. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, okay, here we go. Is there any other thing to give it away? Nope. And so with that, it's like, okay, I'm just going to hope for the best here. Like, you know. And so, and I've spoken to a few American breakers who do it, and they're just like, yeah, you learn eventually. I'm like, no, you don't. I'm 3 years in and I still have no idea. And obviously, like, there are guys who do case breaks of Series 1 jumbo, and it's like, how? Like, that's a monster effort. And like,
yeah,
that is. That's so many cards.
Yeah, and like
that's like with Score. Like Score, if you did like a case break of Score, like You need a week of annual leave just to like go to the physio.
Yeah, well, like Legacy was hard enough, like.
Yeah, right.
And because like, you know, with those kind of like, I guess the advantage is that like you can get a few paper prospects of some guy who's great in 10 years' time, and it pays for it, sort of thing. But with products like Score, no one cares about that second. The second.
That's true. That is true about the paper. Yeah.
Like you can get a paper of like I have one here. It's just a paper Bowman of Shohei Ohtani graded 9. That's $100, and then in a case break of that, you'd get 100 of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, sweet. Your Trevor Lawrences aren't doing that in Score.
Cody's going to lose his shit when he sees that card flash across the screen. I think he's going to dig it. Go cool comment from Bailey though as well. Big lineup: Hendo, God, and Carpet Punter.
all I did say was eat and shop. I feel like Bacchus or something. If I was to be a god, it's either one who like money and wine, because I am rough right now.
That's all right to be rough. It's Sunday. We got the day off tomorrow, so
yeah.
Hey, so Hendo, what do you collect?
What do I collect? That's a
Blake
good
and
question.
I have spilled our guts. Yeah, what do you?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. No, look, I'm probably Philadelphia Eagles first and foremost. Like I was saying before, I've gone and scoured eBay for a lot of old school classics, a lot of cards that would barely rate a 4 or 5. I would imagine some of the old shitters that I've picked up. But yeah, like old team sets. I like sort of, we'll talk about before, like reading the stories on the back of these things, and finding out that the punter for the Eagles in 1956 or something was also an accountant, which is quite funny. But yeah, that's probably like the main thing. I've been collecting a bit of, as Carpet knows, a bit of Giuliano Lacey. Giuliano even. Tried to put a curl in his name and failed miserably. But yeah, like try to just snap up a heap of his stuff. I'm always looking at eBay on that. The silly idea in my head is that at some point I'm going to get them all graded and become, somewhat of a millionaire. But got to play the long game on some of this stuff. He might actually want to make the F1 before I get too excited.
It's all new area, the F1 card. So mate. That kid's young still, all he's got to do is, if he makes it even back into F2, those cards will probably go up in value, because people will start speculating on him, so
that's true.
Or you just wait until Elon Musk drafts him into his first ever Tesla Rocket League. And,
I like it. I like it a lot. We need to send him a note and ask him if that's going to be on the agenda, because I'll buy up more. But yeah, look, that's probably it. I actually, when I first got back into the hobby again, I sort of went looking for like old, like complete old sets that I had. So I would have had like 70 or 80% of a set that was like in a folder from 30 years prior, and I just went off like finding singles all over eBay, just trying to fill like old 90 hoops and 91 upper deck and skybox and stuff like that. So I think much to what you said before, Blake, like sometimes you just find stuff that's really interesting. And that's why, like with the baseball breaks and that, I'm not massively into baseball, but you see some of those products open up and it's like, oh, you know what? I'll throw a couple of dollars at this and see if I can get something cool. So we've got Dale's tuned in, bless his heart, and he's just what the hell is this? So, yeah, I mean, you probably just have to go back to the start to see the intro.
Yeah.
or lack thereof.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just... yeah, it's fun though. It's fun, and I think everyone's got their different little vibes about what they collect. Peter B was mentioning like the footy, the AFL sort of flying recently as well. Like I've tuned in, funnily enough, to a few of Dale's breaks of the AFL, and like when so it's only when you're not on, and so when like the weekend ones. Yeah, the weekend ones. Wednesday's a big one. Yeah, definitely. So, we jump in and have a look. And it's similar. Like they're a different kind of. It's a different vibe of the chat, but it's still the same sort of. It's still that same sort of mentality, I guess, of like cheering people on when they get cool cards. Especially with footy, there's just something a little bit different about it. I think where, I get a Carlton card and people are pumped. Whereas Peter B's pulled a couple of absolute crackers of Geelong cards, and like everyone's literally just cheering. He wouldn't see it though, because I think him and his brother were running around the house, so they wouldn't have seen us cheering. But it was pretty cool. So I think all the different sports have got different people that float in and out, and you see someone get something really cool. It's fun.
Are AFL cards getting graded? because I don't know much about the AFL market. But what has surprised me is how much money is in there and what some of those cards are actually worth too. Has surprised me. So, like, are people actually sending them through Cherry to BGS and that? Like, are you seeing much?
We get a couple here and there, like a few people who grade some of the bigger ones, like the autos, and like if somebody's got a PT. But there's an Australian grading company, and we'll probably be ostracized at this, but if I get it wrong, but I think it's CGA, and they do a lot of AFL
CGA.
grading.
Yeah,
right. On the flip side of that, I don't know if anybody's in the chat, but like there's still a few people who don't get it in the greater AFL collecting community because it's still a family thing. Like you still, I bought a couple of packs and can't wait to do the team set with my kids, sort of thing. Like,
okay, right.
That like to them, it doesn't matter the conditions it's in because it's going in a folder that the kids will rip in and out of the card sort of thing. So like
which is cool.
Base of Dusty is different to a base of LeBron sort of thing, despite them pretty much being the same. Like LeBron taxes the Dusty tax, and so with that being said, it's like okay, sweet. So why would you grade but I think the idea behind it will change pretty soon. I think that it's getting to a point now where if there is somebody who's going to grade them properly and grade them good and, you can get them back quick. If I'm buying a Buddy Franklin card, I'm buying the better one. Like I'm buying I'm happy to buy the one that's graded because it's definitely nice. Like, and so I think it'll be
again, that expectation comes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
I think it'll be a slow transition, but I think it's in the process of happening. Both people grading cards in Australia and people grading cards, overseas with BGS and PSA and stuff. And plus, BGS have just such a nice slab for the booklet sometimes.
They do.
You
I love autos in BGS slabs. They look so much better than PSA slabs. Like PSA looks so generic with their label and that. But the BGS slabs are just beautiful for autos.
Yeah. They feel. I like how sturdy the BGS ones feel.
Yeah, you could drive over it with a car, but
I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't do it with PSA.
Yeah.
Well, Peter B's saying here that it's like the community's a bit split on the grading, but lots more AFL collectors are talking about it. And I suppose that's the thing I find with some of the footy cards is that it's a different type of accessibility, which then creates a different type of expectation in my head. Like I'm not going to spend like $9 at a servo expecting to win Powerball. Like that's not what it's about. It's actually about opening them either with the young fella or opening them up and sort of like, maybe I can put together a Carlton team set, and it's just fun to have it and collect it. It's not about the dollar value, but there are like hidden little gems in there, which if you're trying to scratch that itch of the thrill of the chase, then that is there. It's just it's a lower chance of it happening, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. Usually when you see people too, when they're displaying their collections and displaying that collection, you don't see too many that are graded at this stage. Most of them are all sort of one-touched. They still look great, but they're not graded.
Interesting. I sent a bunch of NRL cards off to PSA, so I'll be interested to see how they come back. Yeah. I sent a couple Tommy Radonicus from the 70s, few Peter Sterlings, and even a couple Brad Fittlers from the 90s, and just real random sort of stuff. Like even Mark Geyer, like what I consider Mark Geyer rookie card, and just things like that, just random NRL cards, and just really it's almost like an experiment, because at the time when I was sending them, they were only like $15 a card for grading. So I was just sending them at like the slowest level, the value level or whatever. And but so I'll be really curious to see how they come back, because the pop reports of them are just like nothing. Like there's just for the whole year there might be one card graded or something, and like some guy submitted like. It was so random. There was one year there was a Ruben Wiki card that was great, and that was it, one card. So obviously some Ruben Wiki fan has got like this card and he's got it graded. But I just think that's awesome, eh?
Yeah, that's
some dude out there's got a PSA Ruben Wiki card. I don't know if you know who Ruben Wiki is, Hendo, but he's he's a Kiwi legend, but in rugby league, and it's just like I just think it's awesome.
At the same time, it's not like he's one of those amazing names who like it's such a random card to be graded. Like I'm just thinking,
isn't it?
Like,
yeah, exactly. No,
that's
I agree. Yeah,
there wouldn't be too many. Look, and I might be wrong here, but because I'm Melbourne based, so everything's AFL related, obviously more so than NRL. But would you guys say, having experienced the New South Wales life a bit more, are NRL cards as big or as common as AFL? Or
nowhere near it. They're like. There you go, Blake.
Oh, don't get me wrong, they're amazing cards. Like the elite set they put out is incredible, but yeah, they're nowhere near as collected. Like I don't everyone here seems to remember trading on the schoolyard with friends. Like I don't have that memory. Like Tarzos, Tarzos, yes. Like all those sort of things, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think I remember opening up a pack of cards and getting I'll trade you my Nathan Blacklock for your Andrew Johns. And yeah, sweet, done. I just don't.
We did. I had that, but what we used to do was play flicks, where you stand at a line, and whoever can flick it closest to the brick wall, whoever lands closest, wins both cards, gets both cards. So obviously, what happens? You damage the cards completely.
Yep.
So
you win them.
This is my theory in sending decent cards to PSA from that era, is that there's going to be hardly any out there. Because everyone's just used to play flicks with them, and all the cards are just trash.
Yeah,
even they're just been at.
I would have understood what a short print was back then.
No, exactly. No idea.
The only thing I remember seeing as a kid where I was I could truly recognize that it wasn't just a base card, because to me there was no such thing as base cards. You just got cards in
commons.
The pack.
I used to call them commons.
Common
cards.
So, if you got I remember getting a redemption and I sent it away to America, and I mean that was pretty much gone really in those days. There was no.
You didn't get it?
I did get it. So I got it back, and I got it back maybe, I don't know, 5 months later, and I got it, and I actually the kids now will never ever understand the feeling of getting a package from America. In that day and age, because it was like magic. It wasn't real life. And when I opened it, and here's this redemption set of these draft picks, wow! I could have just jumped off the roof. Then I would have gone out on top. You know what I mean? It's I've still got them in a folder, and
what set was it?
It's the year after Shaq, unfortunately.
So 93, 94.
It'll be 93, 94. Redemption Silver Rookie Sensations or something with Chris Webber.
What is it, hoops or something? Or
no, Upper Deck.
What was it? Upper Deck, was it? Oh, right, okay.
You can probably find one online for about $45. The whole set. Create your own memories.
Wow.
But,
it's pretty awesome, man.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I think they're the coolest things. I mean, that's literally the coolest shit about the hobby, I think, is the things that you would even if something was worth, I mean, everything's got a price, I suppose, but even if something was worth $1,000, it's I couldn't. I couldn't, because it's it's special to me kind of thing. So I reckon that's some of the coolest stuff. And the whole idea of this sort of series and talking to different people is going to be about tapping into that and sort of saying, okay, so what have you got? And tell me about the experience of getting it. It might be for you, Blake. How did you stumble across a Betty White card? How did that even happen?
I may have it near me, actually.
I always keep it on hand.
Oh no, I do. I actually have it right here.
That is gold.
Look at that. That's sick.
So I don't know what it was.
Actually, an American Express.
It's just hit me. So it would have been the year I was doing my year 11 and 12 exams. And so it was all the Olympics. And then other than the Olympics, it was whatever else was on TV at the time. And it was called VH1 Classics or something. And one night the Olympics wasn't on. And all that was on was Golden Girls. And so I went through close to a season of it. Studying for an
There's a lot of seasons.
Yeah, and so I went through the first season, I love this. And so, when you work at like age 17, 18, and you get paid like $156 a week, you're like, I'm rich. I'm going to do it. And so I went out. I went to my local JB Hi-Fi and bought the rest of the seasons of Golden Girls, and was just like, I love this. And for some reason, just Betty White. I was like, this is my spirit animal. This is who I connect with. And so it was kind of like, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to buy an auto. Like, I got into cards. I'm like, is there cards of Betty White? Is there Golden Girls cards? There was no Golden Girls cards. And I was like, oh, but there's Betty White, just Hollywood cards? Done. And so, like, this set has everyone in it. It was from 1991 Starline. And so everyone who was an actor at that point was in it. And so, like, you know, you can find just anyway, like, name an actor from 1991 and they're in it. And so, like, there's so many of them that are PSA authenticated autographs and stuff. And so, like, it'd be cool to do it, sort of thing. And disappointingly, we haven't had that many those sort of sets since. Like, of just
that's true. It's only really the quirky ones that have some actors in it included in it, but no real dedicated sets to actors or something.
Like Americana was like real Americans, but like I'd love something to come out again that's just like stars of Hollywood. I can get like an Olivia Rodrigo one or Ariana Grande, and just live my best life.
I love it. We got. I'll just go back to some of those cards that are like the best ones. Peter B was saying that the Ablett Legend card would be that for him. And so well, I knew it'd be Geelong. But Peter B is probably going to struggle out of all the epic cards he's got. He'd be struggling.
Yeah, I know, especially over the past couple of weeks. Like
he's on a run. But that's like when Kai went on a run with the Philly Eagles and with the baseball, and he had like just an amazing probably 3-week run. It's like every single break just had like a banger in it, so which was good. Mayo's there. We'll say hello to Mayo. G'day, mate. Mayo had a bit of a win yesterday, last night in the footy break, where he picked the team and the number of the card of 40. And won himself a box of cards.
Oh, really?
No one's picking that. Someone worked out the odds. They were like, it's like 1 in 700 and something chance of getting it right. Yeah, 40. I think is it the marquee? I think it was. You might be able to confirm that, but it's a 40, I think. And
40, and there's 18 of them, so whatever that is.
Yeah, lots of numbers.
720 or something.
Awesome.
But yeah, him and Peter B both picked Freo, and I think it was 31 from memory. But they both picked it. It's just Mayo was in first. But it was all good. You got to love it. How do you get that right and be second? That's rough.
Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. Unless they've both got spreadsheets up of the ones that have definitely come out, like they've watched every break ever. It's like,
I thought about that. 30. Yeah, I thought of it after the fact, because I'm sitting there going, okay, like, wouldn't I just look up all the marquees that are on eBay? Yeah. And it's just like, if I see it, well, there's probably only, a very small amount of people watching this cinematic excellence. So I don't think the secret's going to be out too badly. So that's all good. But yeah, it's one of the most random picks ever. But all right. So we've gone through the Betty White scenario of how Betty White came about, which is nice. Now, I know, Blake, you follow the Sydney Swans in the AFL, and I don't want to get it wrong with the NRL, so I'm not going to say the team. I'll let you say the team.
It's the Dragons. Just remember red and white.
It is. I thought it was, and I thought if I say the wrong one, I'll be in big trouble. But yeah. So do you follow any other teams or any other sports, or are they sort of like the main? Because I follow sports and sometimes not the team. That's all.
Oh no, if I want to be invested in a sport, I pick a team, like LA Chargers, Sacramento Kings, like
that's right,
Vancouver Canucks, like just as many teams as I can support, I will. And I've never picked a good one off the fly either. That's for sure. Never.
Yeah. I got given Carlton as a kid because I was born on my brother's birthday. So he gave me Carlton, and he gave me the bib and the booties and the whole shenanigan. And Yeah, it was great in primary school. Like we couldn't miss. We were always giving shit to the other kids, like your team's shit. And now as an adult, I get to wear that all the time. It's just back the other way because we can't do anything. But
I was at the grand final that the Dragons lost to the Storm, and just like I just crying.
What, the penalty try one?
Yeah. I understood, like, at that point, rugby league was my life, so I understood all the rules. I was one of those kids who knew all the rules. I knew what, I knew why 40-20 was a 40-20. I knew why, like, drop out on the full means that it goes back to the X, and so I understood why it was a penalty try, and I was in hysterics. And I was like, how could he do it to us? And I wasn't talking about the referee, I was talking about the player. I was like, why did he do it? Why did he do it? And like, Mundine was my worst enemy. It was just a mess to be me at that point. Like, I was real feral.
Yeah, I've got a mate who's a St George supporter as well, and he you ever bring that up, it's still a sore point.
Yeah, it is, and
still
I think it's a sore point for everyone. Like, Melbourne just, I knew it from the start.
Man.
I've only been to one NRL game in my life, funnily enough, and it was St George versus Melbourne Storm, and it was at Olympic Park, and I sat front row centre field, which I imagine is pretty good, and Storm won. It was just a regular season game, and Billy Slater got sin bin for belting someone. So I feel like we got the whole NRL experience in.
Oh, you got your money's worth
in the only game, yeah. So like they did the replay, and he just like literally just squared up and clocked this dude in the chin, and the crowd went nuts. And I'm like, why are we like so happy? Why is everyone so happy? That guy
celebrating violence.
So that guy's jaw probably really hurt.
The first game I ever went, Brooke, my partner, with was Dragon Storm in Melbourne, and it was a game, and I don't know how many people remember this. I don't remember what year it was. It would have been close to 2015, where Melbourne scored after the siren. And I tell you what, bless that woman, because if I was me and someone acted like how I acted around that, I would have been out. I would have been out. Like, I could not keep it in, because Dragons haven't won in Melbourne for years, and this is the best they've ever looked. And so I'm like, here we go. We're finally going to win. I've got my girlfriend with me. This is the best day ever. And I'm there just feral. Disgusting. Like, and then, like, people on the way out give you shit. And I wasn't getting fighty, but I was getting pre-fighty. Like, yeah, you
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bless her soul for, and like, because when it happened, I squeezed her hand so hard. She's like, "Ow!" I'm like, "Sorry." Like, and so yeah, bless her for sticking around.
Well, Cody makes a good point, saying like that's why hockey is so fun, because the legal punch-ons, so the gloves get dropped. They basically just punch on you until someone goes down, and if you're down, that's it. You got to stop, because someone's going to take a skate to the head or something, I imagine. So, but that's not a bad idea. Just punch on until someone's no longer able to punch on, and then everyone gets on with it. Get on with the job. I don't know what other sports you could really adopt that to, though. I mean, they've spent the last 20 years trying to get that, 30 years trying to get that out of the AFL. So, but
mate, whenever you got dudes, with physical contact, the way that any of these sort of sports have, there's always going to be some sort of aggression, because they have to find that aggression to be good at it.
Yeah.
So like sometimes it's just going to boil over. It's just a natural part of it.
Every player who's ever been the best has been a grub, because they're aggressive and they're good. Like,
Yeah, that's right. You're actually right there. That's true. Yeah.
But if they're on your team, it's like you love.
Oh no, Angel.
Yeah. Oh, of course, different story.
Yeah,
like Billy Slater, dirtiest player in the game, I reckon. But ask someone from Melbourne, one of the best ever.
Yeah, salt of the earth.
And they're both probably true. Yeah. So like,
Well, I mean, they could both. I mean, I find some of those athletes to be really captivating, because even if they're not considered some of the best ever, it's like looking at their value in a game. Like you've only got to look at the Cherry Discord in the sport, or maybe in the gambler section more specifically, when it's like we talk about like Patrick Beverley or something as an example. Like he's not the best player on the court, and he's a pain in the ass for the most part. But it's like if he was on your team, you would revel in that. Like you would enjoy the fact that he pisses everyone off so much, and you would actually gain energy out of it. Whereas, on the opposition, it's like, I'm going to punch this bloke in the bloody throat. It's going to happen. I don't think there's too many Patrick Beverley cards. I don't think I've seen too many.
No, you don't see a lot of them. And I don't think he signs much either. Like, he's one of those guys who, I don't know, he doesn't like doing things like that. So he's like, hey, I'll pay me $500 an order. I'll do it. Like,
well, it's funny actually. Like with I saw someone, I think it might have been Chesh, talking about it in the comments somewhere, where they're talking about these like the Space Jam cards, and people are like, autos this and autos that.
What are they? Penny? Is Panini releasing them?
I think it's Upper Deck because it's LeBron.
It's Upper Deck is releasing them, is it?
Yeah.
What's that? Has it got LeBron autos?
Well, that's the question that was being discussed, because it's like people were saying like, Lillard, AD, blah 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 blah, and everyone, and Chesh, I think, was the one that mentioned it. Goes, well, they've got a Panini contract, so they're probably not going to be autos. You're probably going to have, I don't know, like the Lulu auto. You're going to have the Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny and all this sort of stuff. Like, I don't know. I saw some price points of it, and it seemed like it was Tom Cheadle.
It's an interesting thing because, Luka was still in Upper Deck stuff. And so a lot of these guys don't have exclusive Panini contracts. They just have the Panini contract. So you'll see Panini make a huge deal of it when they get an exclusive contract. They just go on with Green. I believe they have one with Trevor Lawrence, potentially. But they have it with Zion and Luka now, where there won't be any more of those. And so some of these guys, like AD and stuff, might sign in this as AD as, robot number 6 sort of thing. And so
there's probably going to be a heap of different players that we don't even know yet. They're going to be in it.
Yeah, 100%.
In the actual movie, that make cameos or whatever.
Yeah, like
so there's all potential autographs there too.
Yeah. And it's like, will Vin Diesel reprise his role as Iron Giant, and get a voice credit? Like, who knows?
Yeah. I want a Bill Murray card.
Yeah.
I want Bill Murray to be in there. So he can come off the bench. He'll be all right. Yeah. But no, I saw.
What about Jordan? Well. Is Jordan going to make an appearance?
I don't know.
Jordan autos. Space Jam.
It'd be kept.
Or it's all LeBron. It's all about Bron.
MJ's not going to be in a movie where
because it'll steal the show. If MJ makes an appearance, it'll steal the show, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Like.
So they won't do it.
Isn't the catch cry though? Like the
Cody reckons the Rock's going to show up. I reckon that's probably a good shout.
Is that what they're calling it? The bunny and the goat?
The bunny and the goat.
Yeah, something like that. So I think they're suggesting that Bron's the goat. So I'm not sure.
Could you imagine a dual order of like the bloke who voices Elmer Fudd and LeBron James? Like, you're talking about how, like, Iguodala had a bunch of rookie autos where he's with a whole bunch of other amazing players, and they're like, that lets it down. Could you imagine that, but with the voice actor for, LeBron's wife, like, and LeBron, like, you're like, I'll peel that sticker off.
Peter B reckons that MJ is going to voice the GOAT. That's probably a good shout too.
Yeah,
that's probably a very good shout. A bit like Eddie Murphy with the donkey in Shrek.
Yeah,
just have a goat there. It's like smoking a cigar and just
playing golf and gambling.
Yeah, just doing just MJ stuff and basically just generally pissing everyone off. They've got the Scooby-Doo in the background of one of the screenshots. They've got Scooby-Doo characters in the van and everything.
A few weird crossovers, like even ones that they've mentioned, like Superman and, as I said, Iron Giant. So it's going to be interesting to see how big it's going to be. Yeah. Like, and once you have Scooby-Doo, you have access to the whole catalog of those Hanna-Barbera shows, which is always good. Like,
maybe they'll do that bit at the end where it would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids, and that'll be the end of the movie. It'll be MJ. It'll be MJ all along.
I wonder if like any streamers will get in on it as well, because it
that
like
would surprise me actually.
Got a big gaming thing, like
It'd be interesting to see. Like, I'm in a couple of sneaker groups as well, like just through Facebook and that, and people are quite chatty about the LeBron sneakers, and sort of saying that they're not going to have as bigger iconic kind of draw as Jordan's ones. And I find that really captivating, because it's like I don't think you can make that comparison. Like the Space Jam Jordan, what are they, 11s? I think they are. They are iconic, but like the style of shoe these days is way different. Like my partner's young fella plays basketball, and every kid has got different colored shoes. You look at the AFL now; every player's got different colored boots. It's not the same as it used to be. So
even like the Zion ones that just came out, there's black and white, like rainbow, orange, and deep purple. Like it's
wow.
Like
you need the colorways now, and I think I don't know. There's a lot of philosophical sort of talk on attention span and bright shiny colors and all that sort of shit. That it's true, but I mean, a lot of the Jordans back in the day, they were exclusive because they were Jordans, but they were always red, black, and white for the most part, because that was his uniform color. Whereas it took him a long time to, I guess, learn that you could just make these things in any fucking color you want, and people would buy them. Whereas now they just hit the colors straight out of the park straight away. Like even Donovan Mitchell's Spiders and all that sort of stuff. Like they hit it hard pretty early. So
I saw the Jason Tatum Women in Sports one, like historic Women in Sports one, and that is just every color under the sun. Like it's half plastic, and like the De'Aaron Fox Swiper ones as well, like 2 different colored shoes.
They're those Air Max ones, yeah. Was that them, or were they the sneakers?
2 different colored shoes.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the Air Max ones.
Yeah, one's like orange and blue, the other one's like red and black or something.
Yeah, they were cool.
I have them. I should know.
Yeah, they're probably like you chuck them in a display case type, as opposed to wearing them around, kicking the footy.
Yeah,
but yeah. Well, classic. I don't know. I reckon I'll probably wrap it up, boys, because I very much appreciate the chat. We've covered like a heap of different subjects, which is really cool. Like I really appreciate it. And like I said before, it's the maiden voyage. So trying to get myself used to the controls and understand how it all works. Yeah. So it's episode 1 or episode 0. I don't know how you put it, but yeah, I very much appreciate you guys jumping on to have me on.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hendo.
Talk about stuff like.
Good to chat to both of you.
Yeah,
and the chat.
Same. Yeah, and the chat too. Like I was actually surprised.
Boys in the chat.
Yeah, they're fired up, which I like. Now I know how you feel, Blake, when you're like trying to catch up with these different comments. I don't know. You do it a lot smoother than I do.
I don't know how you do it, man. You keep track of the chat so well. Like you can walk away and go and get a box of cards that you need to get and come back, and you don't miss some dude's question who's already scrolled past my screen. And I'm like, how'd you even see that? Like it's gone on my screen already.
Yeah. We have a pretty good like OBS thing, and so it's like, okay, I can scroll back up to a certain point, but after it gets to a certain point and it goes, you never see that comment again. It's like, bloke puts his order number in at the start. Is like, hey, I put this in. I'm like, sorry, mate.
That's why you say scam it.
I always try and think of another comment where it's like, more this than of that. I couldn't figure out your ones the other night. Like, the Victorian Premier said you want us to lock down. I thought you meant. They were bloody funny though. Like when I got them, I pissed myself. But at the time, like I actually didn't even watch any of the breaks. I'm sitting there like racking my brain, wanting to be the one that answered it. It's like a show within a show. It was so funny.
Yeah, that's good.
Tree come? It's kind of one of those things where it's like I don't know if I'm serious anymore. I don't know if people think I'm serious anymore. Like I've become like a caricature of myself, and it's like
it's bloody good fun though. I love it.
Yeah,
it's good. I always try and send through a comment that you acknowledge that you like it, but you won't read it out. And I think that's my perfect spot. I want to hit. Everyone else can read it.
There's so many comments that I've seen that I'm like, but I'm like, oh, I can't read that one.
It's like I gotta keep it professional.
Yeah, we're lucky. Like, it's a very good community. No one ever says anything actually offensive. Like, maybe
that's right.
Maybe
You're
one
right.
or two comments goes a bit too far, but usually it's just like a dirty joke that I know if I read it out, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
But you get to gauge that though, which is good. Like, people see it in the chat, and if it's something that's like, I reckon I've only seen it once or twice, where you see something where it's like, oh, no, that's not the go. You see about 5 people just go, no, that's not the go. Then they get timed out, and then it never happens again.
Yeah, well, that's it. And so, like,
it's
we're
pretty
very
crazy
lucky in that sort of regard. So that makes it a lot easier. And of course, it is so many people who I know and trust, sort of thing. It's like, okay, sweet. I don't need to worry too much. But then, like, people come in and try different jokes, and it's like, like a lot,
a little bit too far.
A lot is fine. Like, I toe the line, like Grayson toes the line, but it's not to a point where it's like, okay, that's straight up offensive. That's straight up, that's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, the joke's on somebody who, doesn't need to be a part of the joke, or punching down a bit too hard, sort of thing. So it's like,
there's lines everywhere.
As I said, it's like the only line is that, like, punching down on people who probably shouldn't be punched down on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows all the areas to avoid. Like, you don't talk about race, religion, all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
and if you avoid that, you're fine. Like, you can make a joke about somebody or their cards or whatever it is. Like, they're all innocent, but like, there's that line, and if you cross it, like, everyone knows it.
Yeah, everyone knows.
They jump straight down their throat.
Yeah.
Peter B's comment's good. Like, best part about being a mod is you can go back and check what the funny deleted joke was. So there you go.
The amount of times I have to say, QQ, no, that's very funny, but that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play because I'm doing something else on my computer or whatever, and I'll put YouTube on the Xbox, and then it's on the big TV. And what happens is the comments stay on there. So even if you guys delete, so what happens? So what I can do, like I can see a comment, and then like everyone's like, oh, what's like time out, and like I can just scroll up the comments, and you can actually just see what they've actually, because it doesn't delete it off the YouTube app on the Xbox. Wow. So you actually get to read people's some pretty bad stuff sometimes, like, but generally they're just ringing, that have just jumped in. Because they see, there's 100 people watching this stream. What's going on here? Like, and they just like, just there to cause dramas or whatever. Like, you see that there's one that always comes on. What is it? It's like anonymous or whatever. He comes on, he writes one thing, and then he gets like, it's almost every stream. You probably don't even see it, Blake, because it happens so quick. But he'll say something. Oh, the uprising is coming. Prepare. All this sort of bullshit. And then exactly but every stream. But I don't know who it is. It must be someone, and they're just hanging for you to come online, and they just want to write something, and then bang, they get like timed out, and then you don't see them again.
No.
Then you don't see them again. There must be some funny characters out there in the internet world.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny, like, any modicum of success these days, or any modicum of, like, the 6 people watching a Twitch stream can attract it. Like,
Yeah, that's right,
It's like, look out once this goes up, Hendo. Like, you're cooked. Like, they're just gonna be like, you think Philadelphia Eagles?
Exactly. I know. One of these days, be like, I can imagine. Anyway, I've actually checked the some of the settings here, and you can time someone out. So I'll finally just. Perfect. I'll wait until Maggie gets an idea about this, and then I'll be able to just test out all the functionality on him, basically.
That's it.
Hey, you got to get him on stream. He needs to get in front of a camera.
He'd be majestic.
He chickened out in that 24-hour stream. Yeah, he went missing for that hour. During Blake's peephole.
We know the man doesn't sleep as well, so it's like, what was he doing?
Yeah, that's right. He's got to get in the camera for sure.
We'll put the word out. We'll see if we can get him in. Might be episode 2. Put it on the run sheet. All good. All right, boys. Well, thank you very much. Thanks everyone in the chat. Very much appreciate it. We'll check you on the Cherry Discord, and probably one. And I've got one more exciting little thing to do here.
Ooh.
Look at the technology. Look at it work.
Oh.
You can check out Baseline Drunks on Instagram for like pictures of different things to collect and all that sort of thing. And I've got one other thing here, which there you go.
There we go.
Screenshot
that's
that
what
one.
Blake, you need to get that going.
The Magda is a stinker one.
Yeah. Next stream. Start with that.
I'll put it somewhere.
Yeah, do it. That's all good. All right. I'll leave you to it, boys. Thanks very much. Very much appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Boys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah.